And we are live from the heart of America, and we've got a show today that's going to blow your mind. I'm Gary Franchi. This is the Raw Feed, where we cut through the noise and deliver the raw truth. What makes us different, we don't just talk at you, we talk with you. Your comments, your reactions, your voice matters here. Now, Brian, before we get started, double-check that thumbnail. It was updated in the document, so you may have copied it before we made those changes. And with that false start, it may have made things even more confusing because I don't think we have a proper thumbnail. Okay, just make sure you get that thumbnail updated, please. Right, but make sure you also have the correct thumbnail because we did update it. Thank you. Now, before we dive into today's explosive stories, if you're watching on YouTube, join our membership right now. Each level unlocks exclusive perks, special acknowledgement in the chat, behind-the-scenes content, and access to our members-only Discord running 24/7. Just click that join button below the video. Right now, I want to see those super chats and Rumble rants coming in. We'll be featuring them on screen between segments for the world to see. Send them in now. Don't wait. Every single one gets read, and you become part of the show. We're going to be streaming to millions worldwide tonight on YouTube and simultaneously on Rumble and X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So make sure you're following us on all platforms. The censors can't stop us when we are everywhere. And here's the key. Share the stream right now via text message to your friends and family. That's how we bypass their algorithms. X viewers, hit that repost button and spread the truth to your followers. Facebook viewers, do the same. Now, if you want to support independent journalism, you can hit those donation links in the description. Give, Send, Go, PayPal. Every dollar keeps us fighting for truth. Or go private and join our YouTube memberships for exclusive access to our team. If you're looking for the perfect way to show your support publicly, check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got limited edition Alligator Alcatraz, President Otto Pen, and our American Badass series. Wear your values proudly. Now, in this day in 1964, President Johnson signed the Wilderness Act, preserving millions of acres from government development. Today, we're fighting to preserve something else, the truth about who really runs this country. Because what you're about to see connects directly to the shadows behind power. Today, the Epstein files exploded across Washington like we've never seen before. Survivors are naming names. Representatives are getting death threats for demanding transparency. A foreign intelligence connection has been confirmed, and the cover-up is crumbling in real time. And while that bombshell rocks D.C., Beijing just held the largest military parade in history. Xi and Putin were caught on hot mic discussing immortality. I wonder what they're afraid of. Our military admits we would lose a war with China. Is this the end of American dominance? Now, here at home, Chicago's streets run red with blood. 20 dead, 75 shot in weeks. The Pentagon is deploying 600 military lawyers to immigration courts. Louisiana's converting its maximum security prison for illegals. Tom Homan promises to flood sanctuary cities with agents. The enforcement tsunami has begun. And mark your calendars, September 9th, Congress holds what could be the most explosive UFO hearing ever. Military witnesses will testify about football field-sized craft. A journalist claims to know where element 115 is buried. 4 alien species might be revealed. Are we finally getting closer to disclosure, or just a grand distraction? Now, today's show connects the dots between power, control, and the hidden forces shaping our world. From Epstein's Black Book to China's war machine, from our bleeding cities to what's flying above us, the establishment's house of cards is falling. So get ready for a ride that will leave you questioning everything. Hit that subscribe button, share the stream. Let's expose what they don't want you to know. The raw feed starts right now, and let's welcome you to the program. Who do we have in the house tonight? We got Ratana. Oh, the YouTube chat isn't coming over today. Is something wrong with it? Are you able... Really? Oh, because, oh boy. Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it says connect to your streaming software. Yeah, I can see they're disconnected. Stream, yeah, I see what's going on here. Oh, wow, what a mess. Stream, okay. That is such a mess. Okay, I'm seeing the chat start to come in on the proper chat. Mr. Burns, great show, Gary, bless you. Arthur, hi, Gary. Deb, hi. Tracy Hicks, hello from Illinois. Karen Finley, I'm here. Star Feather, hi. LaDonna Banger, John Mitchell, poor old loco me. Kristen Knight, Mrs. Podhead Kenny, James Fay, Running Bear, Share, Paul Patriot, Therese Napoli, Lootless, Robert Lockhart. All right, we're seeing you guys on the actual YouTube chat, but it's not carrying over, so you won't see your messages on screen tonight, unfortunately, as we normally would. But have no fear, because all of our friends from Cambodia are here watching on Facebook. Yes, the Facebook messages are coming in fast. We got So, and we have Chihuro and Lakina Mini. I'm not even going to try it. Rathana. Who else is in the house? We got Kav, New, Long, Tit, Som. What's up, everybody? V and Sang. Good morning from Cambodia, they say. All right, guys. Love you guys. All right, yes, we see James. We see the chat is working on the YouTube side. So a little disconnected. And we just don't have it on screen for you guys today. Sorry. All right, let's get into our first topic of the day, because this is the big news. They thought that they could keep it buried forever. They thought the American people would never find out who was really pulling the strings. Well, they were wrong. What started as whispers in dark corners of Washington has now exploded into the open. Representatives are being threatened. Survivors are breaking their silence. And what they're revealing will shake this nation to its core. Foreign intelligence operation, blackmail at the highest levels, names that you know, names that you trust, all of it connected to one man who supposedly did something in a jail cell. But the truth won't stay buried. Not anymore. Now when brave Americans are finally standing up. So keep on watching. Now let me ask you something. If you built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protect it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Visit nextnewsgold.com. You'll find a link below or call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Now, we did have a representative on the ground at the Capitol today, Kristan T. Harris. You may know him from the Rundown Live. Well, he was there, and he actually was able to ask Thomas Massie a question. We're going to go to his report, gives a really good summation of what happened, and then we're going to get into all of the news surrounding it, all the headlines, what happened last night when they dropped the files, the truth about what was in those files, too. Very interesting stuff. You don't want to look away. But first, let's go to Kristan Harris's report for the Next News Network.
Epstein's Black Book.
Kristan T. Harris here for Next News.
One of them's in Epstein's Black Book.
Kristan T. Harris here for Next News Network, bringing you information from the Capitol building where the victims of Jeffrey Epstein just held a press conference. Attorneys Brad Edwards and Brittany Henderson were present, as well as Congressman Thomas Massie, Ro Khanna, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. The victims came out one by one, and we saw many new faces today, different from the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. In the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, there's 4 witnesses and victims of Jeffrey Epstein who were present. Some of them were here as well today. We got to hear from 6 new victims who actually talked in detail about their experiences with Jeffrey Epstein, coming out and saying, President, this is not a hoax, that they are victims to elitists. Jeffrey Epstein, as you know, is notorious for taking advantage of underage women in Little St. James Island. And there's been a lot of talk about whether or not there's a client list. And today we got some information on it that there is no official client list per se, but they are working, the attorney said they are working on building a list based on who these women say they were trafficked to. So Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a ledger of, hey, I gave my buddy this girl on this night or this girl on a different night, but he did do the trafficking, and the women want to bring it to light. The problem is they're worried about getting some kind of lawsuit due to their claims and ruining their lives. We're talking about very wealthy individuals. These victims said that they have been threatened, amongst other things, and that if they do mention these people, there's a chance that there will be some form of retribution or some form of acts taken out against them that will impact their life greatly, including lawsuits. We also learned, when I had a chance to ask in the question and answer about Thomas Massie, I asked Thomas Massie, what are some of the things that your constituents and colleagues are saying that they don't want to endorse this bill to release all the Jeffrey Epstein files? Thomas Massie, what's some of the kickback you're getting back from your colleagues? What are some reasons why they don't want to endorse this?
Not right now.
Okay. They're being threatened. I mean, look, I've got $2 million of ads running against me back in my district, and it's funded by 3 billionaires. One of them's in Epstein's Black Book. I mean, this is what happens. Your consultants, your political consultants will abandon you when the White House gets mad at you. The speaker will block all of your bills. They'll shut down your fundraising. This isn't political, but it is. I mean, the opposition to this is very political.
He said that a lot of them are being threatened and that they're afraid. It's a power struggle. And it's interesting because this is a nonpartisan issue, right? It shouldn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. No one should want their children trafficked out to elitists. So today we learned a lot about this. We also learned that some names were mentioned. Bill Clinton was mentioned. Jeffrey Epstein often touted his relationship with Donald Trump, which is interesting, amongst other things. So if you guys are interested in more of this information, we have the full video going up. You guys can tune in. Thanks for supporting us here at Next News Network. I'm Kristan T. Harris, bringing you a recent update on what's happening here, right here in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol.
One of them's in Epstein's Black.
Thank you, Kristan, for publishing that and doing the work on the ground. We have this from Thomas Massie. There's so much to unpack here. This was 21 hours ago. In just 2 hours, our discharge petition to force a vote on releasing the Epstein files garnered 134 signatures. We're over halfway to 218. Thank you to Representative Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace for signing the petition and standing up for the victims. Where are the men? Here is Representative Luna. This was late last night. After talking with the Epstein survivors, she says it's clear there's a lot bigger we could have anticipated. Possible Epstein was a foreign intelligence asset. Listen.
There's some very rich
right now.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is the victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also too following up on that. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily. But I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
Will you sign the discharge petition, the Massie discharge petition?
I think that the files will probably be released prior. I don't know why Comer hasn't. I think that he should do it, so it wouldn't even have to come to a vote. But, I mean, obviously I've been a huge advocate, even when I was the only one in Congress calling for the release of those files. So I think I'd be happy to, yes. Thank you.
What do they call for the victims? Do they want those files released?
The victims want information to be out there, but they don't want their personal information, I think, for good reason to be out there. So I think from the get-go, even the Attorney General stated that there's victim information that you have to make sure that's private, being that some of the victims also, too, are as young as 14. That's child pornography. No, thank you, guys. Okay, let her through.
It's just disgusting every way you cut it. Here's Representative Nancy Mace. This made headlines, walking away in tears, visibly shaken after meeting with the Epstein victims. This is the same congresswoman who once claimed there is no Epstein list and pushed for cushy prison deals. Now the receipts are in her face. Check this out. Yeah, she was visibly shaken. We're finding out that the Trump White House actually threatening GOP lawmakers, saying if they sign Massie's petition to release the files, it'll be treated as a hostile act. And Brian Allen writes, that's not how innocent people act. That's how cover-ups get enforced. So the Trump White House actually threatening GOP lawmakers. Republican Massie, Representative Massie, dropping a bomb outside the Capitol. If you recall, President Trump called this a hoax. Well, here's what he had to say about this.
We can clear. I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today we can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C. I think it's shameful that this...
Clearly not a hoax anymore. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene after she heard from the victims last night.
It's very good. I was the second co-sponsor on Thomas Massie's resolution. After reading the entire resolution, I think it's very good. It's well written. It protects the victims, and it provides the transparency that the country deserves, and most importantly, the survivors deserve. Yes, I will be proudly signing the discharge petition.
Why is it important to do this in addition to what the Oversight Committee is doing?
Me personally, and I believe in transparency on all levels. And this shouldn't have been a battle, and unfortunately, it has been one. And you know, as a woman myself, as a mother of 2 daughters, I can't imagine any young girl or any young woman being victimized and having the government and different people in power and basically a cabal of powerful, rich people, as well as the government, cover this up and not prosecute these monsters. And so, yes.
So we're going to keep going because there is a lot. Now, this is interesting because Representative Paulina Luna posted that the Epstein files can be found here. They were just uploaded to House Oversight. Now, late last night, I downloaded them and reviewed them, and a lot of people were already commenting. You see the readers added context to the link. Most of the documents released today were already made public months ago. These are not new documents. A lot of people pointing that out. And about 98% of the information that was released by oversight has already been public. But I want to make a point to say that despite the fact that a lot of this has been publicly released, was it all easily accessible in one simple link? Could anyone in America or the world, for that matter, just tap a link and download every single document from oversight? I don't think it was all neatly packaged like this. So while people might complain that this is already public information, it gives fresh eyeballs, fresh access to the information to pore over it. We should also point out Roger Stone making it very clear. Speaking of Epstein, Schumer got thousands in donations from Jeffrey Epstein. And speaking of oversight, let's check in with the chairman, James Comer, breaking some major news. Alex Acosta coming in to testify in a couple of weeks. Epstein documents currently being uploaded for transparency. And here's more.
Epstein, just give a quick update. I think everyone knows who all we've subpoenaed thus far. In the initial batch, we subpoenaed 6 former attorneys general, as well as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. We've expanded that to Alex Acosta. Acosta's coming in, I believe, September the 19th, 16th or 19th. We've got that date down. I know that we'll have a lot of questions for him with respect to an earlier Epstein prosecution that he was involved in when he was U.S. Attorney. We have the documents, the initial batch that had been sent by the White House. As you know, we also subpoenaed Pam Bondi for those documents. The White House is working with us. I want to publicly thank the White House for turning over so many documents thus far. We're in the process of uploading those documents for full transparency so everyone in America can see those documents. It's going to, as quick as we can get them uploaded, and as the speaker said, there are 34,000 pages. So we're doing everything we can to get those uploaded. We want those to be public as soon as possible. And then we're going to continue to bring in more people. We learned of some additional names today. We're going to do everything we can to give the American public the transparency they seek, as well as provide accountability in memory of the victims who have already passed away, as well as those that were in the room and many others who haven't come forward. So we're sincere about this. This was a 2.5-hour discussion. It was as bipartisan as anything I've seen in the 9 years I've been here. Appreciate the speaker for giving us the authority to seek out everything that I think you all want and the people that I talk to as I travel America want. We're going to do everything we can to get the answers and to do it as soon as possible. Just give a quick update.
What's interesting is he brings up Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. As you know, Robert Mueller recently came down with a convenient reason why he can't testify in the Obamagate scandal, right? He has health issues. He's his deteriorating mental capacity. Well, you know, just yesterday we reported that Bill Clinton was spotted with a defibrillator and basically a medical device with Hillary Clinton on the tarmac traveling somewhere. Now, immediately when he said that, I said, wait a second. You got Mueller making an excuse. You've got Clinton's now possibly seeding a reason why they may avoid their own subpoena in this case. So get ready for some major excuses from the Clinton camp when it comes time for real accountability and to testify. Let's keep going. Okay, let's go to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here she is at the event today outside the Capitol. There's so much to go into here, so just bear with me because we've been cataloging this all day.
It's an issue. Good morning. This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about. As a matter of fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration I think this is something that was worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very, very young. But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996. And they have carried with them shame. But I want to tell you something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse. The shame falls on every single person that enabled it. The shame falls on every single person that took money to continue it. And the shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never receive justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries. Yesterday, I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us.
And there is more. Here is an Epstein victim's lawyer says that Trump actually helped victims back in 2009. Of course, this destroys the left's narrative as why one of the reasons why they claim they want this transparency is because they want to take down Trump. Well, here's an Epstein victim's lawyer.
Wasn't looking into
Thank you all for being here.
I'll go first and then I'll let them. They're much more important than me, but I don't understand why it's a hostile act. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that. He didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that's even up for debate. How do you not stand behind these women after you've heard their stories and know that hundreds of them were abused, and it was only because files are being kept in secrecy? The world should know who he is, who protected him, and the other.
Thank you all for.
Fact check. Representative Jim McGovern. Nearly everything Republicans just supposedly released has already been released. They're doing everything in their power to muddy the waters, release the files. And check this out. Nancy Mace writes, President Trump is the one who banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. Trump is the one who cooperated with the feds to get this guy. Trump is the one who was committed to protecting women and kids. I think we also, and then there was this moment. Don Lemon storming into Marjorie Taylor Greene's office. We're going to get to that in a second, and the House Speaker, but there was a point that I wanted to bring up. that was raised. Here it is. Donald Trump Jr. Posting the same video I was about to show you. The left is trying so hard to pin DJT to this while ignoring all their friends who were involved. But as I've been saying for years, if he really was at all involved, don't we all understand that would have leaked years ago? The liberal tears will be flowing bigly. He's quote tweeting Eric Doherty. Epstein survivors give an answer to NBC News, and Democrats are fuming because the narrative is done.
It's just something that I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment. With the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon, did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
I do have to ask, and I know.
Very clear. Let's get to that. Here, actually, let's go to a victim. Let's go to one of the victims. Say they will compile their own list of names associated with Jeffrey Epstein. Listen.
And stand with us. Transparency is justice. Release the files. End the secrecy. And stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law. And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. That's right. Thank you.
So they will be compiling their own list of names. Now let's take a look at what happened shortly after the event. Ford Fisher, news to share, was on the ground. Marjorie Taylor Greene actually posting the video. This is how Don Lemon, who was fired by CNN for being such a disgusting, misogynistic pig to his female coworkers and women, trying to get viewers for his new podcast. Clearly his misogyny continues. Capitol Police had to ask Don and his production team to leave for aggressively harassing my staff after they stormed the Capitol and my office. Now, this was actually posted 24 hours ago, so this actually did not happen afterwards, after the event, so just a quick correction there. But check this out. So we actually have more from that. Let's see here. Let's see. Here is the video. Activists demanding Trump's impeachment and release of Epstein files entering Marjorie Taylor Greene's office with Don Lemon.
After you. Come on. After you. After you. Hello.
We're here with the folks to see the Congresswoman.
Yeah. She's not available right now. I'm so sorry about that.
Is she in?
You guys can contact her office at a different time if you guys would like a meeting with the Congresswoman.
Well, can we leave word for her?
Sure, you guys can pass along the comment.
Yeah, we would like to make sure that she knows that we need to get Donald Trump impeached and out of office. Okay. My name is Carlos Alvarez, and I'm the founder of American Opposition. I'm sure you've seen the protests on the streets and the Tesla boycott and all of that. We were one of the organizations that started that. This is Jessica Denson with the removal commission.
Okay. So I'm going to have to ask you to stop recording. This is a private office.
Yes, and we're here to see the Congresswoman.
You're not residents of our district and you haven't requested
Yes, well, we're here requesting a meeting.
Well, again, your group is still recording, and if you continue to record,
Well,
we're going to have to contact the Capitol Police.
Okay.
No problem. Yep.
Do you know when we can get her? Or
No, I don't.
Okay. We're here. We have
Don Lemon pulling a stunt at Marjorie Taylor Greene's office. Let's go to the House Speaker from last night talking about the Epstein transparency.
That's his mindset. I've spoken to the president myself about this many times, and he is as insistent as we are. He is the most transparent president in memory, probably in the history of the country. As you know, he stops. If he were here now, he would stand here and take your questions endlessly. That's his mindset, and he wants the American people to have information so they can draw their own conclusions. I've talked with him about this very subject myself, so I can tell you that is his heart. Now, he also, just as we do, is insistent that we protect the innocent victims, and that's what this has been about. I've spoken to the president myself about this many times.
So there is the House Speaker. Let's see here. Let's go to Ro Khanna at the event.
And we've been released. We are demanding today on the discharge petition that all of the files be released. We know we have 212 Democrats and we have 4 Republicans, courageous Republicans like Thomas Massie, Nancy Mace, who was so emotional yesterday after talking to the survivors, Congresswoman Boebert, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need just 2 more signatures to force the release. So we gather here on the steps of the Capitol to confront these corrupt forces. Today we stand with survivors. We stand against big money. We stand to protect America's children. Been released.
Will there be 2 more? Here we have this from Democrat ranking member Robert Garcia has released a statement about the Epstein documents Pam Bondi gave to the Oversight Committee. Turns out the cover-up was real. Garcia's entire statement is a must-read. And 33,000 pages of documents Comer has decided to release were already mostly public information. And he says, don't let this fool you. I believe we actually have his remarks as well. Let's see. I think speaking of this, every major network carrying the Epstein victims press release conference except for Fox News. That's very, very interesting. Let's see, what else have we got here? We got Ro Khanna. Okay, so this is Garcia. Talking about Trump has the power to release the Epstein files.
Subpoenaed. 2 things. One is Donald Trump has the power right now to release all of the Epstein files and documents. Right now. The DOJ is refusing to release the documents that have been subpoenaed. So there is a White House cover-up at the very highest level in getting the American public the information to bring justice to these victims. And I think it's very important for everyone to understand that. The second thing that's important is in the days ahead, we already know we're going to hear from some of the victims tomorrow. We're going to be hearing from other victims in other ways in the days and weeks ahead. It is very important that we believe these women, that we believe these survivors, we honor that, and that we work to bring them justice. 2 things.
So he's calling it a cover-up at the highest levels. Here is a survivor, Shantae Davies, reveals she was taken on a trip to Africa.
And I trusted. In 2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience, and when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life, and that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. 2002, I was...
That was just one of the survivors speaking out. Thomas Massie also writing, the White House says, helping me secure a vote to release the Epstein files is a hostile act and threatening anyone who helps bring true transparency and justice to survivors. This is a tacit admission. The Oversight Committee data release is woefully incomplete. The White House official told NBC News in an email helping Thomas Massie would be viewed as a hostile act. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene on Real America's Voice just a couple of hours ago.
MAGA through.
Today he called it a hoax while these women were speaking out and they were saying, we're not a hoax, we're human beings. And I think we need to see something turn around there.
You know,
and I'll say this, Eric.
He can prove it's a hoax by releasing it. Let us decide if it's a hoax or not. I mean, I love everything they're doing. I'm MAGA through and through.
Well, I just want to finish up on one thing. Yeah. It's not a hoax because Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted pedophile. That takes away the whole hoax things. It's not a hoax. It's not a lie. And on that note, Eric, every Republican should be able to sign on to this. And that's the real hoax, that they're afraid to sign on to it because somebody who is a real coward from one of the Trump admin officials came out and called this a hostile act against the Trump administration. And I take very big offense to that because I put my life and my fortune on the line fighting to get that man elected. And whoever said that has their job because of people like me that fought all the horrible Republicans that stabbed him in the back after January 6th. And I was one of those that fought on the front lines and said, no, he is the leader of our party. He is the president, and we're going to make him president again. Well, that coward attacked me and attacked anybody else and called it a hostile act. The hostile act was Jeffrey Epstein raping 14-year-old girls. That was the hostile act, and it's not a hoax. Today he called it a hoax.
Oh my goodness, man. It is exploding everywhere. Speaking of Fox News, they did have some coverage. This is Agenda Free TV. And they put a D next to Thomas Massie's name. That's not Fox. Agenda Free TV. Let's see what else we have here lined up. Let's see. I think we got this. We got Rokana. Let's see. I think we've covered. Oh, here. This is more. This is Massie actually yesterday outside the Capitol.
The president's called it a hoax.
He's called it a hoax. I hope he doesn't say that after tomorrow when 10 of the survivors testify in public. That would be very disrespectful.
We have the entire press conference on our X account. You can watch it in full. It's right there. Let's see. Here's more from Thomas Massie outside the Capitol yesterday.
Look, well, the question is, why are they doing a pressure campaign? Why are they doing that? Why do they? Because they don't want the files released. Look, if my legislation were redundant, why would the White House be trying to stop it? It's not redundant. There are things that the White House doesn't want out there that my legislation would cause to be released, and that even the White House doesn't believe that the Oversight Committee has released everything. Well, the question is, why are they doing a pressure campaign?
So this is only the beginning. Victims speaking out, Don Lemon causing chaos, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here's even Tim Burchett talking about it. We got to rethink the whole thing.
These ladies were mistreated, of course, by Epstein and Maxwell, but also mistreated by our government. And we got to rethink the whole files thing. Apparently there's some files that they don't want out. So I've said all along, we need to protect these young ladies, well, they're ladies. I guess they were young, they were kids when it happened. So yeah, we need to make sure we do that. And I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to get to the right spot where we can release everything that needs to be released. But again, in our rush to do this, we have to protect these ladies and these others that were involved.
Is that what they were advocating for in there, to keep some things private?
Yeah, because I asked specifically. It wasn't really a question and answer, but they made a statement, and I asked specifically about certain files. I don't want to disclose too much, because obviously, but yeah, I think we need to protect those young ladies.
Are you still going to sign on to Massie's discharge petition?
I got to clarify that we can protect what they need protected. I think we all agree on that.
So will he sign on? That remains to be seen. So much is happening. Everybody's speaking out. Schumer got thousands of donations from Jeffrey Epstein. But this story is far from over. A lot of trauma and a lot of hope on the horizon. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, this is not about conspiracy theories anymore. This is about documented facts, congressional testimony, and survivors ready to name names. When a sitting representative reveals that his biggest political enemy is in the Epstein Black Book, when the White House threatens lawmakers for demanding transparency, when survivors confirm foreign intelligence involvement, we're watching the biggest cover-up in American history unravel. They want you distracted. They want you arguing about pronouns while they protect predators. But here's the truth. This network of blackmail and control explains why nothing ever changes in Washington. It explains why certain people never face justice. It explains why our government serves everyone except American citizens. So here's my question. Do you believe that Epstein acted alone? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments right now. Let's continue the conversation. And while you're at it, check out our merch shop. It's linked below. Show the world that you are not afraid of the truth. Wow. Okay. There was a super chat that came through for $10. And because the system isn't working correctly today, I can't display it on the screen. Yeah, I can't display it, but I will. Tomby420 dropping 10. Give Kenny a safe send-off to California to see Jeremy tomorrow night, I think. All right. Yes, Kenny, safe travels to California. A little birdie told me that you're planning a trip to go and visit a lot of the members in the flesh. Well, I just want you to be safe, and I want you to have an enjoyable time. So, safe travels, my friend. Now, we're getting into our next topic, because this is breaking news with respect to what's happening with, well, the National Guard. 20 people dead, 75 shot, all in less than 3 weeks in one American city. Bodies dropping faster than mainstream media can ignore them. Mothers crying over caskets, children caught in crossfire, and the mayor? He's suing gun manufacturers while his citizens bleed out on the pavement. But something just changed. The federal government is done asking permission. The National Guard is mobilizing. Sanctuary city politicians are panicking because when you refuse help, when your people die, you are complicit in murder. And what you're about to see is the battle for America's cities reaching a breaking point. So stay tuned. And while Chicago burns and innocent Americans die in the streets, it's worth thinking about what really matters, protecting what you have built. Because chaos in our cities affects everything, including our personal well-being. A 2025 survey found that over half of U.S. adults are concerned about how fast their skin is aging. At 40% fixate on random wrinkles and dark spots. If that sounds like you, you are not alone. This is why I use my secret anti-aging weapon. It provides my skin with the 5 must-have types of premium collagen needed to help reduce wrinkles. Since I've started taking it, I've experienced smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow. Plus, it mixes smoothly with my morning coffee with no taste or clumps. Be sure to grab a bag of ageless multi-collagen now. It's 51% off only at healthwithgary.com. Now, this just in. The Trump administration has formally requested military assistance in Chicago, according to a DHS memo obtained by Ken Klippenstein. Chicago will be freed, writes Nick Sortor. Here is the memo that is now circulating. The Department of Homeland Security requests immediate Department of Defense support to provide existing infrastructure to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and removal operations, a component of DHS to conduct operations in Chicago, Illinois metropolitan area. The support is critical to ensuring the efficient and secure handling of aliens in accordance with federal regulations and in line with ICE's ongoing efforts to address public safety and national security. Now, as we reported yesterday, residents of Chicago have identified cartels operating inside of Chicago. So I believe this is going to be much broader than just a simple ICE operation. As you know, President Trump has declared war on the cartels, and it looks like he's bringing that war right to Chicago. The memo continues, and I'll see if I can bring it up a little more closer for you. The Chicago, Illinois metropolitan area is identified as a central location for support of DHS detention, processing, and removal operations conducted by ICE ERO in the Chicago area of responsibility. Naval Station Great Lakes, located in Great Lakes, Illinois, near North Chicago, contains the required facilities and support infrastructure, highway access, fuel, and other logistical nodes to support DHS operations. This request for assistance is made pursuant to the following executive orders and proclamation, EO 14167, clarifying the military's role in protecting the territorial integrity of the United States, January 2025, signed on Inauguration Day. Section 2, Presidential Proclamation 10886, declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States, also signed on Inauguration Day. Presidential Proclamation 10888, guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion, signed on Inauguration Day. And 4 Executive Order 14165, securing our borders, also signed on Inauguration Day. So this is the actual memo that has now been released, making its rounds. It was published, I guess it was sent on August 27th of last month. And now we know exactly what is about to happen. So it looks like it's going to be an ICE operation to begin with. I should also point out, since we're speaking about crime, there was a multi-agency police response on the scene at the University of Massachusetts after a active shooter alert was issued. I looked into that and didn't find much more on that. There was some shocking video, however. People were searching for an armed man reportedly on the campus. There was video of this man walking around. It looked like almost maybe an airsoft gun, so I'm not sure. Speaking of crime, also, Minneapolis, you see this? This is wild, wild footage. Minneapolis police used a grappler to stop a fleeing vehicle after a driver ran a red light, marking the first time the device has been deployed in the state. This is a new device that police are employing.
Fish on, fish on.
That's Eagan Police Department. I saw another video similar of that device being deployed, actually ripping off the axle of a of a vehicle. GOP posting this 8 hours ago. Everything was under control. Delusional Rep. Judy Hsu. They were responding to this. California Democrat Judy Hsu says they had everything well under control when violent mobs were burning down the streets of Los Angeles.
National Guard. Well, yesterday I just returned from Los Angeles. That is where Trump sent 4,000 National Guardsmen and 700 Marines to our area when our local law enforcement had everything well under control.
Well, the GOP making it clear that it was not under control when they posted this. Yeah, clearly not under control. Now, she's talking about the National Guard being deployed to Los Angeles. And now, as we just read from that memo, the National Guard being deployed to Chicago for similar operations. And we could only envision what type of scenes will unfold on the streets of Chicago if they're anything like Los Angeles. Here's what Tom Homan had to say about Chicago.
Let me just begin with Chicago, which is very much in the news. President is getting ready, I guess, to send the National Guard into Chicago. And you can tell us you're going to be a part of this. Your agents, your ICE agents. Chicago believes it's a sanctuary city, but I don't think that's going to stop you with respect to criminals. Can you tell us what's going to happen here, sir?
Look, it hasn't stopped us from day one. I mean, as soon as President Trump took the oath of office, the first place I went was Chicago and ran an operation there. Brandon Judd said I wasn't welcome, and I went there the very next day. And the first day of the operation, I stayed for the first day of the operation, kicked it off. If I remember correctly, we arrested 7 or 9 child sex predators who raped children. We arrested 9 members of Trandagua terrorist organization gangs. We arrested 2 illegal aliens convicted of homicide that were walking the streets. We seized pistols that had what they call a switch in the pistol, which made that pistol fully automatic, that were being sold by Trandagua gang members to other gangs. And that was just one day. We took a lot of public safety threats and national security threats off the streets in one day, which made Chicago safer. Got a lot more work to do. President Trump is committed. We're going to focus on sanctuary cities. That's what we're going to prioritize because we know we have a problem there. So there is going to be, as I said several weeks ago, we're going to flood the zone in sanctuary cities like Chicago, like Los Angeles, like San Francisco, and New York. We're going to flood the zone, and Chicago is one of them. We're going to go there and make Chicago safe again. President Trump committed that to American people, and the men and women of ICE and the Border Patrol will keep his promise.
Tom Homan says they are going to flood the zone. Chicago is next on the list. And speaking of crime, we find this body cam footage going viral in Tallahassee. Police arresting Chuck E. Cheese.
539, we have 1 to 10. Okay, he's the suspect. He stole someone's card here and has been using it. Someone that was one of your employees, like last week or something like that. So, yeah, I understand. Yeah, we'll have to get it back to you in a second. He's a criminal. What would you like to know?
I would like y'all to walk him out the door instead of traumatizing all these children, seeing somebody like Chuck E. Cheese. Would y'all put Mickey Mouse in handcuffs?
Have a good night.
Have a good night. I will.
Does this come off, man? Does this just come off the top? I want to hurt you.
I work here.
There you go. I understand you work here. Let me give the manager at least a helmet so I'm not trying to advertise that we have Mickey Mouse or whatever his name is.
Did you hear the kids? They're like, no, Chucky, no. No. Yep. Dozens of children traumatized at Chuck E. Cheese in Tallahassee. And just like Mayor Brandon Johnson, about to be traumatized in Chicago. Libs of TikTok's posting this. Black woman charges cops with large knife, gets shot. She's being charged with aggravated assault on law enforcement officer, resisting arrest, and resisting with violence. Another sad scene. The DOJ apparently moves to block Illinois Democrats from giving taxpayer-funded financial aid to illegal aliens. Yeah, your taxpayer dollars going to fund illegals, the DOJ stepping in there. Here's President Trump on the Guard deployment to Chicago, saying we are going in. It's not political. Chicago will be liberated. Let's listen.
Were killed over the last.
Mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in D.C. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open. They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad, really, really bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week. You know, it was like years, many years, where every single week somebody was killed for many, many, many consecutive weeks. This went on for years.
Now, President Trump sending in the National Guard to Chicago, and looks like it's going to be an ICE operation. Here's Curtis Sliwa in New York. He says, did you know that in New York City, if a shooting occurs but nobody's hit, it's not reported in the crime statistic. That ends when I'm your mayor. He's running for mayor again. We wish him the best of luck against Zoran Mandami.
The 45th. Yesterday afternoon, broad daylight, 4 o'clock, 4 teenagers shot, gunmen escaped. 1 young lady, 3 young men brought to Jacoby Hospital. They will recover. Now that's... We
wish him the best of luck. And now we have this from crime in New York City. 11 hours ago. How could there possibly be no description? A man is facing weeks painful recovery from a broken jaw after he says he was randomly attacked while waiting for the subway in Manhattan. Happened Monday afternoon. David Williams and his wife were waiting for a northbound 4 train on the 59th Street Lexington Avenue subway when a stranger walked up and punched him in the face and broke his jaw.
His punch. Monday afternoon, Williams and his wife were simply waiting for the northbound number 4 train on the platform when he says a stranger walked up to him. Then there was the hard blow to the face. Without warning, police say that stranger slammed a vicious punch into Williams' face, shattering bones before running off. He is facing weeks of recovery, all because of another senseless act in the subway system. The 66-year-old says he's been robbed on train platforms 3 times before, but this latest incident was much different.
President Trump vowing that New York is also on the list. Chicago appears to be the closest target in days, not weeks. Here we have this. Film director and lifelong Democrat Spike Lee says Trump would think twice before doing a federal takeover of New York City. He says the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Harlem wouldn't stand for it. Classic lib. They love crime and squalor, try to clean it up, and you're a racist.
And we're, as you know, this country, right now, it's bananas, and this guy trying to take over D.C. and just weaponize these things, and I mean, he's going to think twice to try to do that in New York, though. Then the boogie down, Harlem, Bed-Stuy, do or die.
Gonna be a different kind of reaction.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be very different.
Let me stay there.
Yeah, I beg to differ. I think it will be very much like what has happened in Washington, D.C. Steve Guest writing that President Trump has common sense. Brandon Johnson is playing to his communist sympathizing base, quote, tweeting Johnny MAGA. Mayor Brandon Johnson says shootings will continue unless Trump goes after guns, because Brandon Johnson has sued Glock.
Politics over shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people. We have sued Glock over their semi-automatic guns that are easily converted into automatic weapons with switches. Shootings will continue.
Yeah, I thought I just heard Tom Homan talking about cleaning up the streets of those very devices. Yeah, but suing a gun manufacturer isn't going to stop anything when you have mentally deranged criminals willing to pull those triggers. Rapid response posting. This is the former superintendent of Chicago Police, Jody Weiss.
54. Let's look at the numbers, because to me, if you don't want the Fed help, then you must be happy with the numbers you have in crime. And we all know the only acceptable number for murder would be 0. But you just quoted some numbers. Think about that. In a Labor Day weekend, 54 people shot, 7 killed. And let's look at the year-to-date numbers. Do you realize that every 19 hours and 58 minutes, someone is murdered in Chicago? Every 4 hours and 19 minutes, someone is shot. And the sad part, you ask yourself, who's shooting who? Who's killing each other? 78% of the victims are black. 81% of the offenders are black. So you've got black and black crime, and yet the governor and the mayor say they don't want any help. So to me, when you refuse help, you're saying you're happy with the numbers, and that is absolutely unacceptable in Chicago right now.
And of course, Pritzker is rejecting the help. Scott Turner says you have to care about people you serve. President Trump does. Do the mayors of Chicago, Baltimore, and Los Angeles, housing, crime, poverty, these are issues that do not have a party and affect everyone.
Really, from the federal standpoint, what do you think that the government can do to improve these cities that, in some cases, I'm only being slightly hyperbolic. Right. I take the Amtrak past Baltimore, I feel like I'm looking at Fallujah or something. I mean, some of these places look really, really run down.
Well, there's been a lack of leadership. Let's just start right there. You have to care about the people that you serve, Democrat and Republican. In this instance, most of these cities that have gone down, quote unquote, are ran by Democrat leadership. And see, to me, HUD, housing, poverty is not a political issue. Safety is not a political. Everybody wants to be safe, whether they say it or whether they don't say it. Democrats and Republican men and women want to be safe. And when you look here in Washington, D.C., our beautiful capital, and you see homelessness, you see tents and encampments and crime and people being murdered. There was a young lady, you heard her today.
Yes, yeah.
She was a reporter with one of the local outlets.
Yeah, it was Epoch Times. Maybe.
Epoch Times. Her name was Iris.
Yeah.
And Iris told a story how she was mugged at gunpoint. A gun to her head. She refused to give her items away, and then the guy pistol whipped her.
Thank God he only pistol whipped her.
Thank God, and thank God she survived. Well, that should not be the case. And so President Trump, as you know, said we're going to take over Washington, D.C. We're going to send a National Guard. We're going to send our troops to make sure that the streets of our capital city are safe, so that women that take the Amtrak, women that take the train, the bus, men, small children that walk in the streets in our city don't have to be terrified that they're going to get mugged, that they're going to get axed, that they're going to get shot. And this is Baltimore, another one, Chicago, L.A., all around our country.
All around our country, President Trump working to clean it up. Here's some real leadership, though.
You'd see the unsafe. We couldn't do it. We'd go out.
This is when President Trump was outside of Union Station in D.C. last week.
Unsafe. We couldn't do it. We'd go out, and you'd see the stories. You'd read the stories. You'd see all of the things that are happening. And they said we couldn't stand it, sir. And now I take my wife and my kids to dinner. One of them said he's gone out 4 nights in a row, and he hadn't gone out for 4 years. So it's a great tribute to you. And when I look at you people, I understand why, because there's no games, right? We're not playing games. We're going to make it safe. And we're going to then go on to other places. But we're going to stay here for a while. We want to make this absolutely perfect. It's our capital. And I guess it used to be many years ago safe, but it's certainly not had a very good run. And
President Trump obviously cleaning up Washington, D.C. Here he is. This is just a couple hours ago in the Oval Office talking about Chicago.
Crime is down. Washington, D.C. is a totally safe city. You're not reporting any crime because there is none. They said crime is down 87%, and I said, no, it's not. It's down 100%. We have a great thing going. I could do that with Chicago. We could do that with New York. We could do it with Los Angeles. So we're making a determination now. Do we go to Chicago, or do we go to a place like New Orleans, where we have a great governor, Jeff Landry, who wants us to come in and straighten out a very nice section of this country that's become quite tough, quite bad. So we're going to be going to maybe Louisiana, and you have New Orleans, which has a crime problem. We'll straighten that out in about 2 weeks. It'll take us 2 weeks, easier than D.C. But we could straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us to go into Chicago if we don't have the support of some of these politicians. But I'll tell you who is supporting us, the people of Chicago. And I sort of want them to let it be known they have incompetent people. Washington, D.C. is a totally safe city.
President Trump going to straighten it out. Ben Shapiro appearing on CNN, blasting Democrats' tone-deaf stance on Trump's crackdown.
Declare national emergency.
What is to stop that, Ben?
I mean, I think that, to be fair, the exertion of more power by the executive branch has been an ongoing process for the course of the last 20 years minimum. And you saw the Obama administration declare national emergencies, something like 12 national emergencies under President Obama, something like 9 under Joe Biden. Now you've had President Trump declare a wide variety of national emergencies. This isn't a unilateral problem. I think it is a bilateral problem. With that said, I think that we should separate a few strands here. One is the legal that Eli was talking about. One of the other things here, though, is I think what Van was referring to, which is President Trump does have a habit of wrong-footing his political opponents in a unique way on this sort of stuff. There were 574 murders in Chicago last year. And you can make the argument, I think a plausible argument, that National Guard troops should not be on the ground enforcing crime, both legally and just as a matter of general policy. But if the position you end up taking is that there is no serious crime emergency in Chicago on a rhetorical level, not on a legal level, on a rhetorical level, or you make the case that actually crime in Chicago just isn't that big of a deal, which seems to be the mistake that many Democratic politicians are making right now, Trump is going to win that battle all day long.
I mean, I hear you, but I also think there is the rhetorical level, which we could focus on. But I mean, I also want to focus on the reality, like the actual things that are happening. And even to that point, I mean, voters are not, I think we treat voters as stupider than they are. Mm-hmm. You ask them in polls and they say, we think crime is a problem. We don't like the way Trump is handling it in the way that he is sending the National Guard. They want Trump to do more about crime. They don't necessarily want him to send troops to cities. So voters can handle these topics. What is this?
But you've seen the clips we've played. You've seen the clips that we've played. The people of Chicago want this. But the mayor of Chicago is not listening to the citizens. He's protecting the criminals, including the illegal aliens, above what the citizens of Chicago want. Proof of this is fact. Chicago mayor signs order to block possible troop deployment. We covered that yesterday. So now we have the official memo from the Department of Homeland Security in black and white. It is happening. The Department of Homeland Security requests immediate Department of Defense support to provide existing infrastructure to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement at Great Lakes Naval Base. Tick-tock. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what Democrat leadership looks like. Bodies in the streets, mayors who care more about virtue signaling than saving lives. Chicago is not experiencing random violence. It's experiencing the direct result of policies that coddle criminals and abandon law-abiding citizens. When Brandon Johnson refuses federal help while children die in drive-bys, He's choosing ideology over innocent blood. When soft on crime DAs release violent offenders, they're signing death warrants for the next victims. Trump said it quite plainly. 3 words. We are going in. We're going in. Because when local leaders fail this badly, when they literally tell law enforcement to stand down while communities burn, the federal government has a constitutional duty to protect American citizens. So here's my question for you. Should Trump deploy the National Guard to Chicago without the mayor's permission? Drop a yes or a no. Let's continue this conversation in the comments. And if you stand for law and order, show it. Grab some merch at the link down below. It is heating up. We're going to continue to track that. I was doing some research on Great Lakes Naval Station. It's actually not too far from me. So maybe we'll be making a trip up there to do some investigating of our own. Would you like to see that? Looks like we got some super chats that came in. Irving stopping by, dropping $15. He says, happy to catch the live feed finally. I'm low on funds, but still loyal. Thank you, Irving. Tom B420 also dropping another $10 bill. Gary, you rock. N3 for life. Fish off. All right. We got a lot to unpack in this next report. Let's see. There it is. There it is. Just making sure we got all of our ducks in a row here. Okay. Let's begin. The world just witnessed something that should terrify every American. China's military might on full display. World leaders bowing before Beijing. A hot mic catching conversations about immortality between dictators. What are they afraid of? And right in the middle of it all, Vladimir Putin praising Donald Trump while preparing to crush what's left of Ukraine? This isn't some distant threat anymore. It's happening right now. Our enemies are coordinating. They're sharing technology. They're building pipelines. They're preparing for something big. And while they plan our downfall, what is our State Department doing? Well, you're about to find out, because the global chessboard is set. And the next moves will determine whether America survives. Don't look away. Now, let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want all of it riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Visit nextnewsgold.com. You'll find a link below today, or call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Operators are standing by, waiting for your call. Now, this just in, Putin and Xi were meeting together. North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un allegedly traveled to China with his own toilet in order to protect his DNA. That's according to the New York Post. You can see the video on your screen. The dictator's aides were seen at one point during his trip to China wiping down the area where he sat. Now, they state here, this is Colin Rugg states, the reason behind it is to seal off anything relating to his health from the rest of the world, according to a South Korean intelligence official. The physical condition of the supreme leader has a major impact on the North Korean regime. North Korea makes a particular effort to seal off anything related to that, such as hair and excrement, said the official to Nikkei Asia. A video from Yunshalev Live via Telegram. How bizarre is that? Wiping off anything he touches. We also have this just in from Stephen Miller, Just the News, posting a gaggle outside the White House with Stephen Miller. Let's listen. Talking about the peace deals President Trump has secured.
The French president has said today that if Putin doesn't have talks with Zelensky, then President Trump will have been, quote, played. Is that true? Is President Trump being played by President Putin at the moment?
Such an absurd question. President Trump has achieved 7 peace deals in 7 months. No president in history has done more to advance the cause of peace. He's been nominated by multiple world leaders for the Nobel Peace Prize. Literally no president, not just in our lifetimes, but that I can think of in American history, and no world leader anywhere today, anywhere on earth, has done more to advance world peace than President Trump. He's ended the conflict between Israel and Iran. He's ended the conflict between Rwanda and Congo, between India and Pakistan, Azerbaijan. I mean, example after example after example. And obviously he's working steadfastly to end the killing in Ukraine. And keep in mind, this is President Biden's war. It started because of President Biden, and President Trump inherited President Biden's war, and he's working steadfastly to end the killing. And that's something that everyone in the world should celebrate.
Stephen Miller nailing all of the talking points. We have this from Jacob in Cambodia. King Norodom Sihamoni of Cambodia attended today's Victory Day military parade in Beijing. The event marked the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, and he appeared among other foreign leaders at the Tiananmen Square parade. Now, President Trump posting this on Truth Social. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from an unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. President Trump not holding back in his observation of the conspiracy that is unfolding. Geiger Capital posting China's largest ever military parade, saying we would lose a hot war versus China over Taiwan. We simply couldn't produce and replace enough ships, vehicles, drones, or munitions. Take a look at this. This is the scene, Tiananmen Square, the lineup of tanks, military, the arsenal, the soldiers. There's, I guess that looks like, I think it's President Xi standing in the sunroof. Soldiers looking onward. Yes, President Xi right there. Let's see if there's any sound of this. Yeah, so you can see a massive display celebrating the end of World War II, but also flexing at the very same time. Victory Day 80. Look at this. More visuals, cannons, troops, vehicles. I mean, it is an impressive display of munitions. A massive flex. And Geiger Capital says we would lose that war. Now, here's the hot mic moment. Xi and Putin discussing organ transplants and immortality. Why would they be talking about immortality? Are they afraid of dying? Who would be the one killing them? I don't know. Listen to this.
In the past, people rarely lived longer than 70 years. But today, they say that at 70, you are still a child.
Human organs can be continuously transplanted. The longer you live, the younger you become, and can even achieve immortality.
In the past, people rarely lived.
Wow, that's what Putin's talking about with Xi. Organ transplants in perpetuity to make you live forever. Senator Marco Rubio posted this 4 hours ago through our joint collaboration with President Claudia Sheinbaum. The U.S. and Mexico have strengthened border security, taken action to dismantle the cartels, made progress towards sharing water resources, and promoted new economic opportunities. Today, we discuss these issues and the importance of resolving trade and non-trade barriers in line with President Trump's America First foreign policy. Here's Marco Rubio. More. This was published 5 hours ago by Town Hall. If you recall, just yesterday, Donald Trump issued the first strike against the narco-terrorists, taking out a drug smuggling boat in the Caribbean. Marco Rubio holding nothing back about doubling and tripling down on eliminating the narco-terrorist threats to the United States. Listen.
Organized. The President of the United States has determined that narco-terrorist organizations pose a threat to the national security of the United States. I don't need to explain to you why. They are traffickers of people, they are traffickers of deadly drugs, they are traffickers of all kinds of illicit means, and they use the money that they generate to destabilize governments in the region, which in and of itself then poses a threat to the United States. So he has designated for what they are. They are narco-terrorist organizations. These are not stockbrokers. These are not real estate agents who on the side deal a few drugs. These are organized, corporate structured organizations who specialize in the trafficking of deadly drugs into the United States of America. They pose an immediate threat to the United States. Period. If you're on a boat full of cocaine or fentanyl or whatever headed to the United States, you're an immediate threat to the United States. And the President, under his authority as Commander-in-Chief, has a right under exigent circumstances to eliminate imminent threats to the United States, and that's what he did yesterday in international waters, and that's what he intends to do. We're not going to sit back anymore and watch these people sail up and down the Caribbean like a cruise ship. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anymore. They're not going to bring drugs into the United States. We're going to stop them. I know a lot of presidents have talked about doing it. This president is not a talker, he's a doer, and he's going to do it. The President of the United States has determined that narco-terrorist organizations pose a threat to the national security of the United States. I don't need to explain to you why.
They are working to end that scourge in the United States. Well, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But as you know, we've been tracking that drug war off the coast of Venezuela. Sputnik reporting, haven't seen them in a while. Sputnik just writes that Putin gave a bombshell press conference where he discussed Ukrainian Trump and Russian-China energy cooperation. Let's see what Sputnik is. Of course, you know Sputnik is a Russian state-sponsored organization. Ukrainian military, they're right in critical condition, no longer capable of large-scale operations, according to Putin. Ukrainian combat-ready units are staffed at no more than 48%. Ukrainian military constantly forced to redeploy units from one part of the front to another. If Ukrainian conflicts cannot be resolved peacefully, Russia will be forced to achieve its objective by military means. Let's see if this is in English.
So we will see how the situation develops, how it unfolds. Well, if not, then we will have to accomplish our goals via military means.
He says if Zelensky is interested in meeting, he can come to Moscow.
Administration led, and if we meet with the current head of administration, let's put it this way, it is possible. I never rule this out. If the meeting is well prepared and if it leads to a positive potential outcome, it is possible. And by the way, Donald asked me if it's possible to have such a meeting, and I said that it is. After all, if Zelensky is ready, he can come to Moscow. If
Zelensky going to Moscow, we'll see. Trump's Ukraine and diplomatic efforts welcomed by everyone at the SCO summit, according to Putin. All express hope that these efforts would lead to peace.
That he will also conspire against the United States. Well, President Trump has a sense of humor. It's well known, and we are on first-name basis, and I can tell you, and I hope that he will also hear this, that strange though it may seem, but throughout these days, both during informal and formal talks, there was not one case when anyone voiced a negative opinion about the current U.S. administration. Not once during these 4 days. All of the people that I talked to supported at the meeting that we had in Anchorage, and they all expressed hope that the position held by President Trump and the position held by Russia and all the other parties will lead to an end of this conflict. So that is something that I'm saying without any kind of irony. And since I'm saying this publicly and everyone in the world will hear this, it is a direct confirmation of the fact that it's true, because all of those people will hear me and conspire against the United States.
So he says they are not conspiring. Let's see. Let's continue with what else we've got lined up in this. So you got some remarks from Vladimir Putin. This also a flyover honors fallen Polish Army F-16 pilot as Polish President Karol Nawrocki arrives at the White House. Here's more from that. President Trump in the Oval Office today.
Poland, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to have President Nawrocki with us. Poland, he did a good job with that, right? Gave me a little different pronunciation. I said I want to get it perfect. Did I get it right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, Nawrocki.
I better get it right. And the president's been amazing. He had an incredible race. He came from behind and he won very handily. The people of Poland have taken to him immediately. They really love him. There's great love and respect. He's a very successful man, but he went into a political hatchet, so to speak. It was a pretty tough race, pretty nasty race, and he beat them all, and he beat them all very easily. And now he's become even more popular as they got to know him and know him better. He's doing a really fantastic job. So it's an honor to. I also endorsed him, so I'm very proud of that. I don't endorse too many people, but I endorsed him, and I was very proud of that, the job he's done. I want to thank Vince Haley for that recommendation. Vince was fantastic, and I appreciate it. And I can tell you who really appreciates it, Poland, because they're very happy with their president. And I just want to say it's an honor to have you. We'll be discussing trade and various other things, the things that you discuss. We'll have a few questions from you, and then we'll get on to a discussion, then we'll have lunch, and then he goes and he meets with the Pope. And that'll be very exciting. And say hello to the Pope for me.
Yeah. Say hello to the Pope for me. Give the Pope my regards. President Trump in the Oval Office. Talking about the flyover, President Trump says, very much in honor of your great pilot who just passed away recently, who was a legend in Poland, a horrific accident. President Trump talking about a Truth Social post that he put out last night.
We're only doing this to, I put out a truth last night. You saw that. And I was the one that brought it up. I said they're only doing this to, really they're looking to, when they did what they did, I thought it was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was very, very impressive. But I understood the reason they were doing it, and they were hoping I was watching, and I was watching. My relationship with all of them is very good. We're going to find out how good it is over the next week or two. I think that we helped China very much, as you know, when they talk about freedom. And I don't believe that, and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe that America, that the United States was acknowledged for helping China to get to gain its freedom. But perhaps that was just that was a sleight of hand. I mean, I was very surprised. I watched the speech last night. President Xi is a friend of mine, but I thought that the United States should have been mentioned last night during that speech because we helped China. I put out
We helped China in World War II is his reference point. Here is President Trump on Putin.
Whatever his decision, I have no message to President Putin. He knows where I stand, and he'll make a decision one way or the other. Whatever his decision is, we'll either be happy about it or unhappy. And if we're unhappy about it, you'll see things happen.
You will see things happen. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is the New World Order taking shape before our eyes. China showing military might that supposedly we can't match. Putin cutting energy deals that will starve Europe while fueling Beijing's war machine. And they're doing it openly, brazenly, because they think America's weak. But here's what they didn't count on. Marco Rubio treating cartels like terrorist organizations they are. Trump putting real pressure on Russia while the media claims he does nothing. A president who understands that strength, not appeasement, keeps the peace. When Xi and Putin discuss immortality on hot mics, when they parade their weapons while praising each other's brutality, they're telling us exactly what they are afraid of: death. and we should believe them. So the question is, will we have the spine to stand up to this axis of evil? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And if you are ready to show where you stand, our merch shop is linked in the description. All right, looks like we had another super chat come through. Karen Myron. N3 and Gary with crew are awesome. Keep up the great work. Love my N3 family and its support. We need to get rid of these radical partisan judges. Captain Patriot, that was $5 from Karen. Captain Patriot, to take a few words from The Rock, it doesn't matter what the mayor wants. And when it comes to Maduro, don't mess with our boats, boy. Japan found out. And Janie, dropping $5. NG troops are doing what they signed on for. America first. Thank you, guys. We're at $46.99 so far. Let's see what else we've got kicking off here. Oh, yes, you find about this. Massive action from the Pentagon today. This was somewhat unexpected, but also shows what level President Trump is playing right now. 600 military lawyers, immigration courtrooms. The Pentagon just changed the game. While sanctuary cities protect criminals and immigration courts drown in million-case backlogs, somebody finally said enough. What happens when the most powerful military on earth turns its legal firepower on the border crisis? What happens when judges who've prosecuted war crimes start ruling on deportations? The establishment's screaming about military overreach. Democrats are frantically citing laws they've ignored for years, but here's what they don't want you to understand. It's not about politics anymore. This is about a system so broken, so corrupted that only unprecedented action can fix it. And it's happening right now. So keep watching. Now, before we jump into today's news, here's a quick word from our sponsor, Hyperbit Technologies, trading under HYPAF on the U.S. market. As President Trump puts a spotlight on crypto and pushes forward policies to keep America ahead in the digital asset race, Hyperbit is charging ahead with next-generation crypto mining technology, expanding on their multi-million crypto treasury that already includes Bitcoin and Ethereum, and aiming to position itself to benefit from pro-innovation laws and executive orders. This is a complete, diversified company that gives you one-stop exposure to the entire crypto sector without having to pick and choose individual projects. Honestly, I could talk about Hyperbit all day, but Trump's bold pro-crypto stance says it all. For everything you need to know, check out the link in the description below, hyperbit.ca. Now, Jeanine Pirro is going viral right now. Look at those barrels. She is standing in a warehouse full of blue barrels that are covered with plastic. Why? Because she writes, you are looking at the largest seizure of precursor chemicals used to manufacture methamphetamine in U.S. history. China was sending over 700,000 pounds on the high seas to the Sinaloa cartel before my office seized them. Watch this.
I'm Judge Jeanine. Hi everyone, I'm Judge Jeanine and I am in Houston, Texas, and I am surrounded by 1,300 barrels of precursors that are being used to make methamphetamines. These precursors were seized as a result of work by my office in Washington, D.C., along with Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol. These 1,300 barrels were shipped from Shanghai, China to Mexico. We intercepted these precursors on the high seas, and now the Sinaloa cartel will not be able to use them to make methamphetamines. And the bottom line is this. Whenever there is an effort on the part of foreign terrorist organizations to create drugs that are killing Americans, we will seize them, whether it's on the high seas or whether it's in the country or a foreign country. And by the way, it's going to take 24 18-wheelers to take all of these containers and put them in a secure storage facility. And that's what we're doing in D.C., but we're doing it in Houston today. And you never know where we're going to be tomorrow. Hi, everyone. I'm Judge country or a foreign country. And by the way, it's going to take 24 18-wheelers.
24 18-wheelers. I was looking at that. I'm going, how large was the ship that brought this in? I mean, that's a massive amount. 24 18-wheelers. My question is, why would they take them to a secure facility and not just simply dispose of them and destroy it? I mean, that's a lot of precursors. I'm not sure exactly what was in those. Like, what is the precursor? Like, how you would destroy it, but they're going to put it in a secure facility that needs to be destroyed. Here we have this. This is from DHS, Rapid Response 47 posting. That DHS partners with the state of Louisiana to hold high-risk illegal aliens in the Louisiana State Penitentiary, the largest maximum security prison in the country. Watch this.
Hi, good morning there, bro. I got a Fox News exclusive where a notorious maximum security prison in the state of Louisiana will also double down as an ICE detention facility to hold the worst of the worst. That's a quote. Brooke Taylor live with a preview of the soon-to-be-announced Louisiana lockup in Angola, Louisiana. Good morning there, Brooke.
Hi, Bill. Yeah, we are right outside the notorious Angola prison here in Louisiana. A section of this prison is going to be turned into an ICE detention facility, and it's going to be called Louisiana Lockup. Now, Fox is the first to report that 51 illegal migrants have already been moved here. Louisiana Lockup is going to hold up to 416 beds. The Department of Homeland Security says they've partnered with the state of Louisiana. They are using this unused section of the prison to detain and deport some of the worst illegal migrants. Now, Angola is the largest maximum security prison in the country.
I got a Fox News exclusive.
Now, if you recall, they just, the left melted down over alligator Alcatraz. So they got to find a place to put these folks, and what better location than an actual prison, right? So I want to see the left come and try to attack this prison to shut this down. But, of course, you know that is on the horizon. Now, we played this earlier, but it bears repeating because it's in the same vein about what's happening with the sanctuary cities, what's happening with the action that's about to occur in cities across the country, like Chicago.
Criminals. Let me just begin with Chicago, which is very much in the news. President is getting ready, I guess, to send the National Guard into Chicago. And you can tell us you're going to be a part of this. Your agents, your ICE agents. Chicago believes it's a sanctuary city, but I don't think that's going to stop you with respect to criminals. Can you tell us what's going to happen here, sir?
Look, it hasn't stopped us from day one. I mean, as soon as President Trump took the oath of office, the first place I went was Chicago. And ran an operation there. Brandon Judd said I wasn't welcome, and I went there the very next day. And the first day of the operation, I stayed for the first day of the operation, kicked it off. If I remember correctly, we arrested 7 or 9 child sex predators who raped children. We arrested 9 members of Trandagua, a terrorist organization, gangs. We arrested 2 illegal aliens convicted of homicide that walk in the streets. We seized pistols that had what they call switch in the pistol, which made that pistol fully automatic, that were being sold by Trandagua gang members to other gangs. And that was just one day. We took a lot of public safety threats and national security threats off the streets in one day, which made Chicago safer. Got a lot more work to do. President Trump is committed. We're going to focus on sanctuary cities. That's what we're going to prioritize because we know we have a problem there. So there is going to be, as I said several weeks ago, we're going to flood the zone in sanctuary cities like Chicago, like Los Angeles, like San Francisco, and New York. We're going to flood the zone, and Chicago is one of them. We're going to go there and make Chicago safe again. President Trump committed that to American people, and the men and women of ICE and the Border Patrol will keep his promise.
Flooding the zone. We got this from Pete Hegseth. Has approved sending up to 600 military lawyers to the Justice Department to serve as temporary immigration judges, according to a memo reviewed by the Associated Press. The military will begin sending groups of 150 attorneys, both military and civilians, to the Justice Department as soon as practicable. And the military services should have the first round of people identified by next week, according to the August 27 memo. The effort comes as the Trump administration more regularly turns to the military as it cracks down on illegal immigration through ramped up arrests and deportations. Its growing role in the push includes troops patrolling the U.S.-Mexico border, National Guard members being sent to U.S. cities to support immigration enforcement efforts, housing people awaiting deportation on military bases, and using military aircraft to carry out deportations. Here is the headline. Pentagon authorizes up to 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges. So this just in. And also we have this lawfare. The Pentagon has authorized hundreds of military lawyers, and it's now breaking in the news cycle.
The Department of Justice administration will temporarily assign military lawyers to act as judges in immigration cases. A statement released by the Pentagon spokesperson says, at the request of the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense is identifying qualified judge advocates and civilian attorneys for details to serve as temporary immigration judges. These DoD attorneys will augment existing resources to help further combat a backlog of cases by presiding over immigration hearings. There are a number of questions about the implications of this novel move, and for that we turn to James McPherson. He was the Undersecretary of the Army during the first Trump administration and also had a 25-year career in the Navy, where he served as that service's top lawyer in uniform. Thank you for being with us. And before we get to the implications, I have to ask, in your view, is this legal, the expansion of the U.S. military into a civilian judicial process?
Well, there's certainly a lot of legal issues that is raised by this decision, not the least of which is whether or not it's appropriate to appoint a commissioned officer in the military to these positions, whether or not it violates the Posse Comitatus Act. There are some old Office of Legal Counsel opinions out of the Department of Justice that indicate it is legal, but in a very narrow sense. And whether that narrow sense is met by appointing them as temporary immigration judges is yet to be seen.
Well, how?
Yeah, of course, there will be screaming and gnashing of teeth over this. The Associated Press also reporting on it.
Military lawyers did want to share this social media post from the Associated Press saying that the Pentagon has now authorized up to 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges. That is according to a memo reviewed by the Associated Press. And
Pentagon to deploy 600 military lawyers as temporary immigration judges. That should speed things up. All of this happening now. BC Begley.
Temporary immigration. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has approved sending up to 600 military lawyers to the Justice Department to serve as temporary immigration judges, effectively doubling the current bench. The move aims to ease a backlog of about 3.5 million cases, but comes amid criticism that military attorneys lack immigration law expertise. Immigration lawyers warn the plan undermines due process, while the White House says it is exploring multiple options to address the crisis, the Associated Press has reported. The military judges will serve in 179-day terms, renewable as needed.
So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what action looks like. Well, Democrats spent years creating sanctuary cities and releasing criminals. Well, they let millions pour across our border unchecked. The backlog grew to over 1 million cases. Immigration judges overwhelmed, deportations stalled, justice denied. Now Pete Hegseth just flipped the script. 600 military lawyers who've handled classified intelligence, prosecuted terrorists, and upheld military justice are about to clear that backlog faster than Democrats can file lawsuits. Louisiana is turning its toughest prison into a detention center, and Tom Homan is promising enforcement raids that will make sanctuary mayors wet their pants. This isn't overreach, it's overdue. For too long, we've watched our immigration system collapse while politicians played games. No more. So the question is, should military lawyers be allowed to serve as immigration judges to fix the crisis? Drop a yes or no in the comments. Let's have a discussion down below. And you can show your support for real border security by checking out our merch shop. It's linked in the description. All right. Let's check in with our super chats. Nothing to speak of yet. We're at $46.99. Maybe we'll crack 50 today. I see all of our friends on Facebook are still active from Cambodia, spreading the love worldwide. Amazing to witness all the folks who are watching from all over the world. Amazing. And speaking of all over the world, our next topic is pretty wild. We're finding out some new information that is, is it a distraction? Or is it something that we should be paying attention to? Don't go anywhere. We are not done yet. Let me just queue up this first post so I can set the stage for you. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Let's make sure I got it all lined up. Okay. "87 college students saw it. The Air Force called it swamp gas. That was 1966. Today, the witnesses coming forward aren't co-eds in Michigan. They're decorated military veterans with top-secret clearances who watched objects defy physics over our most sensitive installations. Football field-sized craft hovering silently, red cubes floating over nuclear facilities, technology that makes our best jets look like paper airplanes, and now China testing drones that look exactly like what our Navy filmed back in 2015. So Congress has just announced who's testifying on September 9th. And these aren't your typical UFO believers. These are people with everything to lose by speaking out. What they're about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew or distract you from what they don't want you to know. So stay with us. Now, let me ask you something. If you've built up to $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want all of it riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. And that's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind that big players are buying. You can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned and trusted by thousands and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked down below, or call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Operators are standing by, and tell them Gary Franchi sent you. So, if you recall, last year there was a UFO hearing. There was a lot of noise surrounding it. Well, now there's going to be another one. The next UFO hearing in Congress is now officially on the calendar for September 9th at 10 a.m. Eastern, restoring public trust through UAP transparency and whistleblower protection. This is all over right now, and these are the individuals who will be testifying. Jeffrey Nusatelli, U.S. Air Force veteran; Chief Alexandra Wiggins, UAP witness; George Knapp, a UAP journalist; and Dylan Borland, UAP witness, U.S. Air Force veteran. Committee on Oversight has made the official announcement. Luna announces hearing on transparency relating to unidentified anomalous phenomena. The Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets Chairwoman Paulina Luna announced a hearing on restoring public trust through UAP transparency and whistleblower protection. During the hearing, members will hear from witnesses on the continued concerns regarding disclosure of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, and the information held by federal agencies, and will examine transparency issues surrounding the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. Members will also analyze the work and effectiveness of DoD's congressionally mandated All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the AARO. Now, what is going on here? The next open congressional hearing on UAP is tentatively set for September 1st. Now we know it's September 9th, according to sources familiar. The witness list is still being finalized. However, we just told you who the witnesses are. And these are the witnesses, apparently, who will be testifying at the hearing. Now, what do they know? What have they seen? People are asking, though, I hope the September 9th UFO hearing includes direct testimony on the Red Cube incident over Vandenberg Air Force Base. Multiple corroborating witnesses for the same case could be a major step forward. George Knapp says he knows where Bob Lazar's Element 115 is buried. If this is not brought up at the UFO hearing on the 9th, then someone's going to be very angry. We'll get to that, too. This was published a couple days ago. Attorney UFO expert Daniel Sheehan says he has whistleblower testimony that proves the U.S. Department of Defense is hiding recovered spacecraft and evidence of alien life. The September hearing is looming. Pressure is on. Here is conversation on Fox 32. Check this out. Here's a clip.
You've been meeting with some lawmakers here, and you're calling on Congress to pass the bipartisan UAP Disclosure Act. If they do pass it, what will we find?
Well, what we're going to find out is that there is an element deep within the Defense Department and the operations director of the Central Intelligence Agency that has been committing perjury to Congress, lying, denying the fact that they have recovered a non-human origin extraterrestrial spacecraft and the bodies that they've now DNA tested and know to be non-human.
You're saying, because you represent some whistleblowers, you're saying that they have disclosed to you that this evidence exists, these documents exist, that these phenomena have come indeed from out of this world with actual alien species.
That they know they're non-human.
Did they describe what those species are or look like?
Well, actually not yet to the public. We've gotten this information out. But the fact of the matter is that if we get this bill passed, and we're getting in the process this in the first week of September, we're hoping as soon as they come back from their summer break, that the Senate is going to pass a 64-page bill that mandates that all of the information that is 25 years old or more, that's basically anything before 2000, basically has to be immediately publicly released to the people.
You're just saying the Defense Department's keeping this secret from everybody.
Yes.
They have lied to the public.
Right. And to Congress.
I mean, could we theoretically say that those craft were secret Defense Department programs from contractors testing out new technology?
Some kind of them have been, because they've been engaged in a back engineering program. They've had these craft for some time, and they've been engaged in back engineering the technology, trying to replicate some of these. And so there appear to be some craft that have been back engineered and constructed and that are being flown by U.S. Air Force personnel in a deep secret program. But the reality is that there are a major number of other craft that are not ours. They're not Soviet, or they're not Russian, and they're not Chinese. And so they're from somewhere else. But now that they've recovered the bodies, and they've actually DNA tested them, they know that they're non-human.
Okay, you've been meeting with some lawmakers here.
Oh, boy. Newsmax post 5 hours ago, a House Task Force on Government Transparency scheduled to conduct a hearing Tuesday on unidentified flying objects, the Hill reported Wednesday. My DC, Alex writes, important, my DC source just leaked this segment from Ross Coulthart. It's an on-air interview of a major new UAP UFO whistleblower. The insider has been subpoenaed by Eric Burleson and Representative Luna for the hearing on September 9th. This was never aired.
I'm speaking to a whistleblower who says he has proof of non-human intelligence, an insect being who had infiltrated the highest levels of government and known as Zal Rith, and the government retaliated against him for what he knew. You were a member of an elite US Marine unit, correct?
I was the first chair clarinet in the Marine Band.
And you held the highest clearance.
I had R clearance, one letter above Q clearance.
When you came forward with what you knew about an HI, they tried to erase you.
I went to the DMV to renew my license. They said they had no record of it. You know, I later learned it was because a woman who is known only as Susan had deleted my Wikipedia page. I called Stephen Bassett for help. He told me not to worry, that disclosure would be happening in 2 weeks. That was 23 years ago.
How can people support Disclosure, mate, and what you and other whistleblowers are doing?
I've started selling my own coffee called Whistleblower Blend. The more people buy, the closer we get to disclosure.
Oh, come on. Seriously? Is that really what this was? A pitch for buying coffee? Give me a break. What a jerk. Okay, yeah, you got me. You got me. The witnesses for the UFO congressional hearing have been announced, as we just told you about. All right. Okay. I'm gonna kind of shift gears here for a second, because this is similar. It's in the same vein here. This captured my attention today when we were looking up the points about this new hearing. Just recently, if you didn't know, they did some LiDAR testing below the pyramids, and they found caverns and tunnels and all kinds of things. Well, the conversation has apparently reached the Joe Rogan Experience. They found these enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, go kilometers deep with coils. Joe Rogan and Chris Williamson discuss the findings.
Kilometers deep. Talking of pyramids, dude, this new pyramid shit that's just come out?
Oh, this is insane. Yeah, I was going to send this to you as well, Jamie. I'll send you one of the most comprehensive breakdowns of it on X, because it's quite stunning. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. So enormous pillars, and then these coils. They don't understand what it is, because they're just looking at LiDAR images, but whatever this is a uniform structure. There's several pillars, and all of this is like very, very, very weird.
Yeah, it's 600 meters descending down those cylinders, and then there's more stuff below it, and then there's additional structures inside of it. Yeah, that was crazy. Talking of pyramids.
And I think there's another clip here. More on those structures. Let's see if this.
I'll send this to you as well, Jamie. I'll send you to wrap my. So enormous pillars, and then these coils. They don't understand what it is, because they're just looking at LiDAR images, but very, very, very weird.
I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock. In fact, over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far.
And supposedly there is another clip. I tried finding it. It got lost in my feed today. A tic-tac shaped object below. And the reason I bring it up is because that's one of the objects that they continually talk about at these hearings, this tic-tac shaped UFO. Skywatch Signal posting this thread. Upcoming UAP hearing, restoring public trust through UAP transparency. We know the witnesses. Here's what to expect when they take the stand. The lineup, as we already disclosed, one's a U.S. Air Force veteran UAP witness, U.S. Air Force veteran UAP witness, and George Knapp, UAP journalist of 30 years in the trenches. This mix means we'll hear direct witness plus journalist who's been their amplifier. Expect the veterans to hammer one theme: retaliation. How service members reporting UAPs have faced career destruction, clearance loss, and intimidation. This is the human cost of secrecy, and Congress will be forced to confront it in public. Alexandra Wiggins brings the law enforcement lens. His testimony matters because it shows UAPs aren't just a military problem. They intersect with public safety, witnessed by police, first responders, and ordinary people whose voices rarely get heard. Then there's George Knapp. He's not just any old journalist. He's the one who brought whistleblowers like Bob Lazar and David Grush into the public eye. expect him to lay out patterns of suppression that go back decades. The committee itself isn't just interested in lights in the sky. The hearing's title says it all: transparency and whistleblower protection. This is about reforming how the U.S. government handles secrecy and classification. AARO will be in the crosshairs. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office has been criticized as a black hole for reports. Expect witnesses to argue it's failing and lawmakers to push for real oversight or replacement. So what could realistically come out of this? New whistleblower protection, calls to declassify UAP data, demands for subpoena power, and a push for JFK-style records review board for UAP. Any of these would be seismic. If veterans describe retaliation on record, if Knapp names names, if lawmakers float subpoena threats, this hearing could move us from speculation to confrontation, which is exactly what we need. The subject needs tackling head on, but the foundations must be laid. September 9th, 10 a.m., HVC 210. Mark it, because the battle over UAP secrecy and whistleblower protection is about to go live on Capitol Hill. Now, I did bookmark some stuff here. Here is more regarding the pyramids. And I did not know this, but I guess NASA's involved.
Say that they may... You know who owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid? NASA.
What? They own the what?
The rights. I was told by one of the guides a couple years ago that get as much as you can coming in here, because they say that they may one day shut off access to the King's Chamber. I said, why would they do that? He said, well, they're afraid that, it's the pyramids earthquake or something could make it unstable. I'm like, this thing has been here for thousands of years. It's not going to become unstable. That's foolishness. What's happening is they've discovered something technological about it, and they want to control it.
NASA owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid.
Yes.
That's spooky, man.
They also own the rights to a section of the Grand Canyon. So I took a helicopter down into the Grand Canyon. They said we can't walk to this area. That area I heard had some old carvings or something would be over in this area. So I started trying to walk that way. And this guy pops out of nowhere with all black on, black hat, black military outfit with no logos, and an AR-15, and tells me, halt, you can't go any further. I'm like, why? I said, what's going on? Oh, didn't they tell you couldn't come over here? I said, well, they did, but I'm thinking, I just want to see, what's over here.
Right.
And he says, you can't come. I said, can you just tell me, sir, why can't I come over here? He says, NASA owns the rights to this section. You can't come over here. You know who owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid? NASA.
NASA owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid and sections of the Grand Canyon. Excuse me. 3 UFO whistleblowers who are firsthand witnesses are ready to testify at the next congressional hearing. Jeremy Corbell reports Congress needs to respond to this video.
There will be more. There are whistleblowers, and there are 3 who have confirmed to me, firsthand whistleblowers, that they will testify under oath publicly at Congress. Congress needs to respond to this video. It is time for them to respond to this, because I have people that are willing to testify at the next congressional hearing on UAP. There will be more hearings. If they have courage, there will be more hearings. And I have 3 firsthand witnesses that they can put up to testify.
And you can see right there on the lower part of the screen, Pentagon captured disc-shaped UAP in 2020. Wow. Okay, I think we have the video here. This was actually covered on NBC News.
Hey, welcome back. Tonight on The Future of Everything, we've got some new UAP video from filmmaker and journalist Jeremy Corbell, who is standing by to break it all down. First, here's a little bit of a closer look. This is a freeze frame. This is with some boosted contrast of what appears to be a disc-shaped object captured back in 2020, possibly somewhere over Afghanistan, Pakistan, the border there. Roll the video here. Jeremy says that this was filmed by some sort of asset, DOD asset, and forward-looking infrared shot from above looking down, and was, according to Corbell, the U.S. Air Force describing this object as possibly navigating through the clouds. There's no heat signature that you can see here. Nothing you would expect for a normal aircraft as it dips its way through. We're told the Pentagon logged it as a UAP, but so far it has not appeared on the Aero public list. That office tracking this stuff, whose official response to our request for comment was, quote, "We have nothing to offer." So Jeremy Corbell is the host of the podcast Weaponized. He joins us on set. Jeremy, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good to see you, man.
All right, so getting into this, navigating through the clouds, like I hate to even bring this up, but that sounds a lot like Jordan Peele wrote it in Nope, right? That's what we saw a little bit in Nope. What's going on here? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so for a couple years of investigating this footage, right, making sure it's authentic, where it came from, that was the running joke, was that it looks like the movie Nope. What we're seeing here that's different than ever before, you know that I've obtained and released with George Knapp thermal videos of UAP. Now, our government has admitted some of what we've put out. They've admitted their UAP. I'll tell you this, I'm not saying it. That was in the original footage. It says UAP navigating through clouds. They called it a disk. I'm not even calling it a disk, but what you're seeing is first shape. I have never seen in all UFO history, when it comes out of military, an actual circular form. It was amazing to me. The second is the movement. When you see it make an abrupt turn from your left to your right when you're watching it. And the third thing that really was astonishing to me, this is in thermal. There is no heat signature of traditional propulsion. It is a perfect looking disk. Maybe it's an orb. I don't know, but I do know this. Our Air Force passively captured it. Then they said that this is a UAP. It is still designated a UAP. So when George and I obtain and release these, it's so the public can see. We're hoping to do a little bit of the job that we're not seeing with folks from Arrow.
Now, it does say AI enhanced. There, it looks like there's some artifacting around it. What is the actual video, and what is possible artifacts from trying to boost the contracts and see what's going on here?
So we did an analysis of the video, but what I did was make sure to put out the original things that George and Knapp and I obtained. So you see it clearly says video 1, video 2, video 3. Our own government, because they've been studying this in the intelligence community since 2020, they did a sort of rudimentary, I would say, kind of highlighting or enhancement of it. And that's why you see like a white ring around it.
It's 2020 enhancement. This is like pre-ChatGPT, pre-AI revolution here.
So what we did was we went in there just so people could see it better. We make it very clear, AI enhanced, because it changes the shape. It's a perfect sphere or a perfect circle, depending on angle of observation when you watch it. So what we did was heighten contrast, and we also made sure that you could see as it goes into clouds, we punched in. So the military videos are the ones that are black and white. The ones that we tried to enhance so people could just see a little bit better of shape and movement is kind of more blue.
And it's circular.
Oh my goodness. All right. Paging Ashton Forbes. Yeah, I think we're going to have to go ahead and do a little quote tweet for Ashton Forbes right now. Paging Ashton. Paging Ashton Forbes. Yeah. Where is Ashton Forbes when you need him? I'm sure he's probably already taken a look at this. Okay, let's continue. This is Red Panda posting this 9 hours ago. The size of a football field silently floating over the launch pad, red in color and glowing. This is, I believe this is one of the individuals who will be, he's going to be at the upcoming UFO hearing.
Working on about 8:45 in the morning. The dispatcher gets a call from range control, a technical sergeant from range control. And he says, I'm reporting an event that occurred at LF-21 and LF-10, two different sites in the same location. And what he said was the contractors working on site called range control, and they said there was a gigantic floating red square over LF-21 at low altitude. And they were just standing there watching this thing.
A red square. So
red square.
One thing that people have asked me after I spoke about this case at the hearing was, what does that mean, a red square? Right? Was this a cube? Did it not look like it had depth, and so it's described as a square? I said square in the hearing because that's how it was described to me, just as you described it. And I'm curious if you have any additional details that you could add. Was it a three-dimensional object? Did it just appear to be a square and it just couldn't be, you couldn't tell?
So here's the issue. I had the original statement from the contractors. There were three contractors that worked for Boeing that saw this object, and they wrote sworn written statements. I've lost those. I lost them in 2012. I have some other statements, but those are indirect witness statements from it. But from my recollection of reading the documents, to the best of my recollection, it was a somewhat flattened square plane and basically just a big square object, the size of a football field, silently floating over the launch pad.
Oh,
red in color, glowing this red color. So as far as I know, it wasn't a cube. It was like a flattened square.
Got it.
Wow. Yeah, so some big stuff's going to happen very, very soon. Here's more from the Red Panda. We're the most powerful military on Earth, yet drones could fly over a major Air Force base and we couldn't stop them.
Threat got ahead. We're the most powerful military on the face of the earth. And yet drones could fly over a major Air Force base and we couldn't stop them. How is that possible?
Well, I think the threat got ahead of our ability to detect and track the threat. I think all eyes were rightfully overseas, where UAVs were being used in one-way attack to attack U.S. and coalition service members. And the threat in the U.S. probably caught us by surprise a little bit.
A year ago, General Gregory Guillot, a combat veteran, took control of NORAD and NORTHCOM. He ordered a 90-day assessment of operations and says the drones or UAVs at Langley became the centerpiece.
Now, here is Representative Eric Burleson, firsthand witness with experience of non-human intelligence, coming to the new UAP hearing in September.
And so...
What next? I mean, you and other members of the UAP caucus have said that you were hoping to have the next big UAP hearing this month in July. Now it's been postponed until at least September. Why the delay?
Scheduling conflict with members, but also we want to get it right. And so we're navigating getting the right witnesses, the best witnesses we possibly can. And so
by that, do you mean firsthand witnesses?
Yeah, we're focused on trying to get people that have got firsthand experience that can bring new conversations.
Firsthand experience with what?
With non-human intelligence.
What next? I mean, you and other members.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, fireworks, baby. Okay. Okay, here's some. I looked up to see if there were some current UFOs that were spotted. Here is Moorhead, Minnesota, August 31st, 2025. Take a look at this. Looks like a balloon to me, perhaps, unless it's going to do some maneuvering. It looks like it possibly could just be a balloon floating. Here's some of the images from it. Let's take a look at something else here. Here is from August 24th, redacted posting. UFO hearing reveals claims of 4 alien types: Greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians, all potentially piloting unidentified craft.
Other sources at secondhand. At a recent UFO hearing on Capitol Hill, physicist Dr. Eric Davis, who you can see there in the sort of tan jacket, he worked on top secret Pentagon projects. He told members of Congress under oath that there are 4 different types of aliens that have a possibility of being operators of unidentified crafts. He witnessed them perhaps firsthand and even heard from other sources at secondhand. I'm not exactly clear on that. The 4 distinct alien types that he claims are this: Greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians. At a recent UFO hearing on Capitol Hill.
Oh my goodness. Here's another one, December 9th, 2024. UFO sighting in Phoenix, Arizona. This UAP is really funny there, right? check out the zoom I added next to it. Almost look like it's turning. Okay, so you can see it. Looks like it's possibly in slow motion here. Again, just looks like a dot. Looks like it's turning. Sure, it could be a balloon in the wind. I don't know. Let's see if there's another shot here. Closer look. Looks like 3 lights. It's hard. It's really hard to make out some of these things here. Here's one. UFO over Utah. This was posted 23 hours ago. September 2nd, 2025. The same UFO I saw over Utah this afternoon recorded in Downey, Idaho, September 2nd, 2025.
You don't think that had any... It's moving pretty quick. Can't be some kind of weather phenomenon because it's just traveling at the same speed, same angle.
Yeah, it looks like a weather balloon. You could see it's kind of translucent.
You don't think that had anything to do with that thing, like the media shoot, the showers? Don't think so.
Yeah, it looks like a weather balloon to me. Bob Lazar exposing the gray aliens.
They have very slight... The beings are 3 to 4 feet tall and weigh 25 to 50 pounds. They have grayish skin and large heads with almond-shaped wraparound eyes. They have very slight nose, mouth, and ear positions and are hairless. These beings are from Reticulum 4, which is the 4th planet out from Zeta Reticuli 2. These beings said that they had been visiting Earth for a long time and presented photographic evidence which they contended was over 10,000 years old. There was an exchange of hardware and information in Central Nevada until 1979, at which time there was a conflict which brought the program to an abrupt halt. The beings left, but were to return at a 1623 date, and I don't know what that date is. With the remaining hardware and information, the U.S. government started the back engineering program.
Here's more from Bob Lazar.
Can humans duplicate that vehicle?
At the time I was there, that was not even in the realm of possibility.
How about, are they able to fly them?
Well, there was...
be able to fly them?
Well, there was a test pilot flying the craft, so apparently we had developed the expertise, at least to lift the thing off the ground and move it around. As far as taking it any great distance or taking it out of the atmosphere, it's something I don't think would happen. This is, a prized possession, an operating extraterrestrial craft, and things change when you leave the atmosphere. Things like the fact there's no air outside, the fact that there's not exactly 100% chance you can bring it back now. So, I don't think they're flying around to Jupiter and taking looks at planets. I think they're very careful with it. They're just testing it, and and will remain that way for an extremely long time.
It would seem like the government would really be just, all the stops would be pulled out to try to duplicate this, because this seems to me like the ultimate vehicle to move around, especially in our own solar system.
Well, yeah, you hit on 2 points there. It is the ultimate vehicle to move around, and imagine being able to go anywhere instantaneously. Now, without any weapon potential at all, consider that being a weapon potential. We have trouble in the Middle East. You know how long it takes us to get aircraft carriers out there? Well, we'll be out there in a couple of weeks. I mean, it takes lots of planes refueling. If we could be out there in the snap of a finger and load something up like this with tanks and weapons, that's or behind enemy lines instead of advancing in front of them. I mean, this is a tremendous weapon. And it's because of that, I think, where we see a lot of the secrecy stemming from. So it's their kind of...
I've got another one here for you. This is published 4 days ago, but it's an older video from the 60s. 87 co-ed saw it. Air Force called it swamp gas. The night after Frank Manor's UFO sighting in Dexter, Michigan, a second event happened nearly 100 miles away in Hillsdale. On the evening of March 21st, 1966, 87 female students at Hillsdale College reported seeing a glowing structural object hovering near their dormitory. The craft emitted pulsating lights, moved erratically, and remained visible for hours. Their dorm advisor called the police. Responding officers also confirmed unusual aerial activity. One officer observed or described the object as oval-shaped, glowing orange, hovering for long stretches and shooting away at impossible speeds.
about 12. At first, when I'd heard the other girls talking about it, I believed them, yet I couldn't really make myself comprehend it because I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. But then when I saw it, I just was fascinated. I wasn't afraid. I just wanted to stay there and keep my eyes glued to it. I couldn't leave.
Well, when I was looking out the window with the binoculars, I guess it was about 12, I saw it, and I saw two red lights, and I saw what looked to be shaped like a pie. I could just see the front of it, and I just saw the round front, and I could see the lights on either side. And then the red light was sort of casting a glow over the whole thing, so it looked like a round disc.
I know I saw it, and I know myself I saw it, but I believe I saw it, but I can't fathom it because it seems so unreal.
Disclosure is coming. Will it happen on September 9th, on Tuesday? Check this out. China. This is really interesting. China, this was published 4 days ago. China testing a VTOL drone with UFO-like design resembling a 2015 gimbal sighting. This is the gimbal sighting that was made. UFO-like drone resembling U.S. Navy's 2015 gimbal sighting. China tests vertical takeoff drone resembling. Let's see if there's any video of that. So this is a Chinese drone. Nearly a decade after a U.S. Navy pilot reported an unidentified flying object shaped like a spindle hovering off the East Coast, scientists in China have built and tested a drone with strikingly similar profile. The 2015 encounter, known as the gimbal incident, was recorded by an F/A-18 Super Hornet from the USS Theodore Roosevelt and later declassified in 2021. The footage drew global speculation about unidentified aerial phenomena and questions about aerospace technology beyond known military capabilities. UFO-inspired VTOL. According to the South China Morning Post, researchers at Zhengzhou University of Aeronautics have demonstrated vertical takeoff landing VTOL drone whose design echoes the gimbal's shape. Experimental aircraft departs from conventional quadcopter or fixed-wing forms, adopting an elliptical closed-loop wing that integrates straight central section with vertical stabilizers. The result is an airframe resembling a flying spindle, 4 rotors mounted at wing junctions, providing lift for vertical flight and stability during transition. So it's easy that, some of this stuff could just be military technology, like the Chinese. This also caught my attention. I saw this couple of weeks ago, actually. This is an amateur German astronomer who simply pointed his telescope at the moon. And you see that white dot there. Saw this device with look at it. I mean, look at it. This is December 18th, 2023. Something hovering over the surface of the moon. Despite, let's see if I can read this for you because maybe it'll be better if I just show it to you. Okay, so top center, the night of Monday, December 18th, 2023, an amateur astronomer also from Germany using a high-power telescope recorded the presence of a strange red glowing object moving above the north pole of our natural satellite, the moon. As this progressed, a truly extraordinary event occurred. The visitor projected a selenite asphyxiation despite the haze between the telescope and the object. It is clearly visible because it is very bright. This is without a doubt one of the best pieces of evidence ever for the presence of non-human intelligence on the moon. What else could it be about? What is that on the hovering over the surface of the moon? So, mark your calendars. Here's another UFO sighting, world news. This is probably AI. This is my guess. Group of hikers claim to have captured an unidentified flying object while exploring the mountains. Looks like probably an AI video. Like, come on, man, zoom in on that. Like, why aren't it looks overlaid. You know, there's a lot of this stuff that gets posted. A lot of it's hoaxes. A lot of it's people just posting clickbait. But let's see. Let's check in with what's happening on this September 9th one more time.
Public hearing. Representative Eric Burleson, who sits on the Oversight Transparency Committee in the House, has acknowledged that there will be a UAP hearing, a public hearing, on the 9th of September. And he's gone even further. He's stipulated that there will be at least 3 witnesses. One is a former US Air Force veteran who will speak about 5 UAP incidents. Another is a Navy officer who witnessed UAP events firsthand. Intriguing. And the other is a US Air Force officer who has witnessed firsthand events. I like the sound of that word, firsthand. Obviously, I would like the scientist with the spanner that's fixing the TR-3B, but this all sounds very, very promising. I'm not sure who these people are. I'm aware of first-hand witnesses that I and others have prodded towards the Senate Select Committee for Intelligence, and I know that there's been conversations going on in back rooms discussing the necessary protections and security clearances that need to be gone through to allow people to talk about certain things. So fingers crossed. It's exciting.
Fingers crossed indeed. If you got value from this report, tab subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is not about little green men anymore. When China's testing drones that match our Navy's UFO footage perfectly, when military officers risk everything to testify about craft over nuclear sites, when George Knapp says he knows where element 115 is buried, we're past the giggle factor. Hell, my own producer, Todd, has had 2 UFO sightings in his life. He says he saw the Tic Tac. Okay? And he's the most skeptical guy that I know. Now, these are not weather balloons or swamp gas, although some of those videos do look like it. But what we might hear at this hearing are technologies that could revolutionize energy, transportation, maybe even how we understand physics itself. And somebody's been hiding it from us for decades. Why? Who benefits from keeping humanity in the dark? September 9th might finally give us answers, or it might be another limited hangout designed to distract us from the real truth. But one thing is certain, the old explanations don't work anymore. So here's my question. Do you believe we're alone in the universe? Drop a yes or no in the comments. Let's continue this conversation. And if you are ready for the truth, whatever it is, show it with our merch at the link in the description below. All right, guys. That segment went a lot longer than I expected. We may have 40 minutes. Holy cow. That was a long one. Lots of ground to cover there, for sure. Let's see what you guys are saying. I saw 2 glowing orbs doing figure 8s for 10 minutes once, says Lizard Boy. Scontech 115 is legit, but does not occur in our solar system as far as we know. All the hunting I know is gunshot. Deer are normally not in the sky. Please tell me you talk about the school mandating an Israeli flag and mainstream media blasting through facts and saying Gaza is not genocide. I don't know anything about that. I believe the Bible says lamb's grace. So there you have it, folks. 5 stories that prove the world's gone completely mad, or maybe we're finally seeing it clearly for the first time. We started with the Epstein bombshell that's ripping through Washington like wildfire. Survivors naming names, representatives getting threatened for demanding transparency, and confirmation that Epstein was working with foreign intelligence. The White House calling transparency a hostile act tells you everything you need to know about who's being protected. This is not just about one dead scumbag anymore. It's about an entire system of blackmail and control that explains why nothing ever changes in D.C. Then we showed you the crime catastrophe destroying our cities. Chicago's death toll climbing while their mayor sues gun manufacturers instead of arresting shooters. 20 dead, 75 shot. Brendan Johnson thinks the problem is the Second Amendment, not the criminals he refuses to prosecute. And Trump is ready to send in the National Guard, and honestly, it's about time someone stood up for the innocent people trapped in those war zones. Then we exposed China's massive military parade, their biggest ever. While Putin praised Trump and promised to supply Beijing with enough gas to fuel their war machine for decades. Xi and Putin caught on a hot mic discussing immortality while preparing for conflicts that could end American dominance. Our enemies are not hiding their intentions anymore. They are broadcasting them. The immigration enforcement tsunami is here. Louisiana's converting prisons for illegals. Tom Homan's promising to flood sanctuary cities with agents, and 600 military lawyers are about to demolish the deportation backlog. Democrats can scream about process all they want. Americans are done watching their communities get destroyed by open borders. And September 9th might blow the lid off the biggest secret in human history. Military witnesses, football field-sized craft, Element 115, either we're about to get real disclosure or the deepest deception yet. When China's building drones that match our UFO footage, when veterans risk everything to testify, when my own producer Todd has seen these things twice, something's happening. So to everyone who sent in super chats today, you made the show what it is. Your voices, your support, your refusal to accept the lies, that's what keeps us going. So thank you for making the Raw Feed the fastest growing independent news source in America. And tell a friend about what you learned today. Text in the link. Share the show on every platform. If you want to wear your values on your sleeve, literally, hit our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. The truth is out there. Together, we're going to find it. This is Gary Frenchie signing off from the Raw Feed. Stay strong, stay informed, and we'll see you on the next show. God bless America.